Just a moment ago, I was going to start videoing and, continue on with the railing and so on. And I noticed this little piece here caught my eye. I was thinking, what's that? Well, I know now that it broke off right here. And I was going to just grab it and throw it into the little tin with all the other stuff. Well, I make it sound like there's a whole bunch of stuff. There's 2 or 3 pieces that I have to, glue back on later. And I thought if I throw it into the little tin, I'm not going to maybe remember exactly where it goes. Although I probably would. And I thought, I maybe should fix that right now. Now, if I remember from before, the best way to hold this thing was something like this. And it'd be nice if I could get it on exactly the same way. Whoops. Okay, try this again here. Oh, it keeps flipping up on me. Maybe I should grab it just a little bit different here. Okay, would something like that work better? I'm going to try not to get my fingers in your way here. I'm thinking possibly Tamiya extra thin, just to sort of soften the plastic. Put a little bit of extra thin up here, if I can, very, very gently, so it doesn't run down into the portholes and what have you. And then also a little bit of extra thin on the end of this part. I just want to do another test here. Maybe these tweezers would, give me a little bit more grip. Yeah, that'll probably work a lot better. Okay, now can I soften this little part here without making a mess and having it run down? Just want to soften it. Okay, now I'll do the same. Move my bottle here so I don't spill it. Okay, I'm going to try not to get my fingers in your line of vision there. That's not too bad. Oh, it's moving, it's falling off. Maybe I put too much extra thin on and it's dissolved the plastic too much. What have I got on the end of my tweezers? It's almost right. I'm looking dead on. You're looking at about a 45-degree angle. I'm looking straight on here, and it's... I think I better quit poking at it. Now, it looks pretty... when you look really close up like that, you can see all the little flaws and everything, and you can see that the glue job isn't all that great. But at a distance, you're not going to notice. Now, while we're waiting for our extra thin to evaporate out of that plastic, and I do want to try and repaint that part, because I was noticing that there's a lot of the paint got rubbed off for some reason. Anyway, I'm going to be using, in case you're wondering, it is XF77. It's just a little bit darker than what I used on the superstructure. I don't know if I have any of the original paint that I used months ago when I painted all those parts, so we just have to try and keep it close. But that's not what I want to talk about right now. You'll notice I got the macro lens sitting here. We were using the macro lens on that previous scene when we were zoomed right in. And I think maybe what I should do is just tell a couple of stories. And that is, if I was to go to, say, a hobby show where they had a whole bunch of plastic models on display, and you have all these wonderful dioramas set up that are almost breathtaking, and they look so realistic. Well, they look really good. Let's say, for example, you were looking at a diorama of a military scene, and you had, 2 or 3 army tanks sitting there, and the figurines, and everything was positioned just right, and it almost looked as though you'd flown over in an airplane at about 200-300 feet and snapped a picture. It was very realistic. Now, as you move in closer and closer, you start thinking to yourself, it's not so realistic anymore. And those figurines that looked really great, if I was to put on my macro lens and move right in, they would look like they were put together by Picasso. The nose wouldn't be right, the ears wouldn't be right, there'd be something wrong. Yeah, now, we often use the macro lens, and on occasion, we use the super macro, and we move right in. When we use this one, we're almost on the microscopic scale. When you move in really close on something, it does not look good. Okay, story number 2. In Japan, there's a beautiful model of the Yamato. I think you say Yamato, you pronounce it that way, or Yamato. Anyway, it doesn't matter. You know what I mean. It's the biggest, baddest battleship, as far as I'm concerned, that ever was. The Bismarck would have trembled in its hull if it had have come up against the Yamato, as far as I'm concerned. Anyway, this ship is, I believe it's 10 to 1 scale. In other words, it's huge. And any pictures that I've seen of it, what I have seen, looks very realistic. But I can guarantee you, if I was to put on my macro lens and move in really close on those parts that look so good at a distance, they're not going to look good. You're going to think to yourself, that doesn't look real anymore. Well, it's the way models are. The closer you get, the worse it looks. Now, we could go to a showroom where they're selling brand new Rolls Royces. Now, I have never seen a brand new Rolls Royce, I don't think. And but I know that if I was to be allowed to put on my macro lens and move right in and look at different little parts of that, we would find flaws. It would not look good. Now, I think a lot of you know why I am saying this right now. Yeah, I just gotta keep reminding people that when we're looking really, really close, things don't look good. And you've often heard me say things to the effect of we're not going to be seeing it this close and all that kind of stuff. Anyway, I think enough said. I think I've got my point across here. Now this little part that we're going to repaint right now is over here. You can hardly see it, let alone see the flaws. You're looking at the ship the way a lot of people are going to be seeing it. Well, maybe a little bit further back. Anyway, enough talk. Let's repaint. Now, I am fully aware here that the further back I am, the better everything looks here. I just want to get this bare plastic covered. And maybe if I could get in there, get some of the glue. Just take the shine off. Yeah, so like I started to say, why not, if the Bismarck looks better the further back you are, I could leave the camera in the other room by the computer and then just press record as I'm leaving, and all you're going to see is my big caboose going out the door. But at least the Bismarck's going to look great. Okay, let's just let that dry. I think that's enough. Probably only going to make it worse if I try to make it look better. I have just spent the last few minutes here gluing down the rest of this piece of railing, that we started yesterday. The one where we glued the little extension on. And I'm not going to do that again because I think it works a lot faster and a lot less, you might say, clunky Like if we zoom in on this area, right now it looks really good, but if we zoom in on it, well, like I keep saying, it looks kind of, I don't know, just clunky. So I think what we'll do is we'll find out, first of all, I guess this piece here, we'll probably have this section that I'm pointing to right in the center of this fair lead, and then I'll just sort of eyeball it, and we'll conclude where should this be cut and a post be glued on. Yeah, and then try and get our two posts together. Anyway, thinking out loud again. Let's get at it. Now probably you've picked up on the idea that all these shots are unscripted, and I often don't have any idea what's going on in the background until after I'm editing. And you probably were watching that dad trying to teach his kid how to ride a two-wheeler there. Yeah, anyway, the weather that we had 48 hours ago, all that snow, it's melted. And we're going to lose more snow today. I'm happy about that. Okay. Let's see if we can just sort of temporarily, if I can hang on to it, set this in place here. And I do believe it has to go. Come on, Ron. Why can't I do this? Okay. I'm trying to squeeze it together hard. Okay, would it go something like this? Okay, so it goes in there. It looks like those little pegs that are supposed to go down in the holes maybe need to be sort of scraped off. Okay, that's kind of how it's supposed to go. Now, if this railing here goes over the fair lead like that and continues on, see if I can get it up and over this without falling off here. Might have to readjust here a little bit. Okay, make sure everything's still the same length. Yes, down here it's going to be just right. And right here is where we'll be removing the two bottom rails. Now, okay, so it looks like this section right here that I'm touching right now will clip the post off. And, well, maybe we'll leave it on right now for strength-wise. But eventually we'll be clipping off the post. We'll be shortening these rails that I'm touching right now and fastening them to this mast and also probably this part right here. I believe that's the way it's supposed to go. I don't think the rail is supposed to go all the way around the back here in a curve. Now, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it is supposed to curve all the way around like this. Let's just check the drawings and also photographs. Here we are in the World of Warships CGI. Now I say CGI, that might not be the right term. I use that term for computer generated imagery. That's the way I understand it. Now let's try and get around to the stern here. Now we'll move in. Now what did they do here? Move over just a little bit. Now can we swing this around? Take a look at it. Move it over a little more here. We'll swing it around. It's hard to do real slow. I'm moving the mouse just minusculely, you might say. Now what's going on back there? Let's zoom in on this if we can. What does that look like to you? Okay, it looks to me as though the rails here, they come up to this part of that flagpole that is attached to this fair lead. I'm presuming this is a type of fair lead. Okay, so the rails come here, and that's right. They don't go all the way around the back. They actually end right here. Well, that's sort of what I thought. I remembered seeing something like that in photographs too. I'm not going to waste a bunch of time looking for photographs. It's getting on in the afternoon already here. So that's what I thought. So that's what we'll do. We'll just clip off that railing, and then after this piece here is put in place, then we will go ahead and fasten the railings to this the same way we were going to do on the bow. Okay. We are back at our old familiar perspective, and we're going to take this off because we won't be needing it. Now we know that we're going to clip off the last section here, and we know that we want to make the take off the bottom two rails right there, and this one here is going to be something like that. Now I think in order to not accidentally take off the wrong ones, let's just clip the bottom rail right now and make it really obvious. Okay, it's going to come off anyway. Okay, so let's go ahead now and do that. But you know, once again, we've kind of run out of time this afternoon. Not length of video wise, but we've run out of time. So thanks for watching, and all being well, we'll see you tomorrow.